Hello, and welcome to the Kreative Devices Mobile Podcast, a podcast created for all creative devices users to tell their story and to help bring even more creative awareness to the world. Today, we are joined by the one and only Marshall from Brasstime Productions. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Listen, we've been
It's good
talking
to
about
see you,
this.
man.
It's good to see you too, man. You know, I haven't seen you in a while. You're one of the few people that I was lucky enough to meet in person. You know,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Me too,
yeah,
man. How you bless me. Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
yeah, definitely,
I
man.
should have worn my jacket too, man.
Yeah, that's right. You have one of these. Yeah,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yours is fire, man. I like the way it came out.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you
Yeah,
again.
yeah. So
Oh, excuse me.
that's all good. So listen, like I said, we got to hang out. I've been to your studio, saw your setup. Watched you work on music. You're extremely talented, brother.
Temporary studio, right?
Temporary
Temporary.
studio.
Yeah, temporary.
Well, listen, it was nice nonetheless, and you're definitely talented. I know you got some fire that the world hasn't heard yet, and I'm looking forward to them hearing it.
I can't
So
wait, man.
yeah, but for those of you, I mean, for those everyone watching that don't know about you, because obviously I know, please let us know who you are, what you do, etc.
All right. Uh, well, everybody know who I am. I'm Marshall Brooks. Uh, I'm a music producer slash content creator. Uh, play all brass instrumentation. Um, Started in the church, of course. Um, Pretty much, I would say around the age 8, maybe 7 or 8 is when I got my start. Uh, the church was heavily involved with brass instrumentation, so that was my start. Basically, the baritone is the first instrument that I started on. Euphonium, baritone, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Um, I have a twin brother. He actually played on the same band, and we pretty much started there, you know, playing on that band. And from there, like I said, we didn't have the means of being able to take other things up like piano and things of that nature at that present time, back then. But we enjoyed everything that we did in the church, man. I mean, we were in church 24/7 all the time, and basically all we did was we learned to play by ear. And playing by ear is what basically got me where I am today, which I'm thankful for that. So I have to say my start was in the church. It started in the church for me. Um, but as far as me, who I am and what I do, I work for the Board of Education, NYCSSS. I'm a fireman. I've been doing that for almost 19 years. Uh, one year I was out, so it would have been 20 years, but I say 19 because I was out on disability, and we'll talk about that later. But pretty much, it's been great, man. I mean, outside of brass instrumentation, I decided to take the route of not just playing for other people or coming up with compositions for other people, because that's what I still enjoy doing it, mostly locally. Like I said, I've shared the stage. I've had a couple of names I can speak on, but that's not important. But I've been able to do that as well, and that's basically my story in a nutshell. I mean, I've my goal now is to get better on the other side of outside of being able to play instruments. It's more so now I want to do my own production, and that's been pretty good so far. Even though, like I said, I had a stint where I wasn't making music, and I wouldn't have what I have actually. Part of my income at that particular time when I was grinding came from actually making music with other people and stuff. So it helped to get me to where I am. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm very grateful to meet you because I never told you how I I think I may have mentioned it to you, but I'm sure you're gonna ask me that question soon.
Okay.
How I actually met you, and you're gonna be surprised when when I
Okay.
tell you. Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, there's no order. You can jump right in and tell me because now I'm intrigued. So how did you find us? I'm curious.
Okay. Prior to me, uh, having surgery, I was looking for a computer. I was looking for something because I knew my situation, what was going on with me, which I'll speak on. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis, which is a lung disease, and it's actually a genetic uh, situation for me. Everybody in my family, we share this gene that goes defective after a certain time. So, and anything can trigger that to happen. And for my situation, they don't know how it happened, but it happened. So around 40. So that tells you I'm pretty old. So
Life's
yeah.
just getting started, brother.
Yeah, hey man, that's the way I look at it too.
Yep.
You know. So around that time, that started happening, and I started to decline. You know, probably about a year or some change ago. And around that time, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able, at some point in time, I'm not going to be able to climb stairs. I'm not going to be able to get around. I need to find me a laptop, something that's dependable outside of which we'll talk about that too, the laptops that I've had in the past. I can honestly tell you, I've never really had a high performance laptop. You know, I thought I had one, but it wasn't. So I'm online searching and I'm searching and I'm just looking and looking. And they're having, you know how like you look in the comment section and YouTube videos and stuff?
Mhm.
And it wasn't a video that you were in. It was another video, which I would have to find it. I know I can find it because I'm good at that. Um, Somebody said one answer, and I looked and he had three dots, and then it space, 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 space. You look down, creative devices.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, Creative Device. And it wasn't you because the tag name wasn't Creative Devices, now that I know who you are and such and
Mhm.
such, but it wasn't you. So it had to be somebody, that either bought it or knew about it. So I clicked on him and then it didn't lead me anywhere. Not anywhere like he didn't have any page or anything up that was showing, what he used or anything like that. So I just started searching Creative Devices. And the funny thing is I didn't come across the site because I'm spelling Creative Devices with a C, of course. So these whole other videos start popping up, and people are like, "Yeah, Creative Devices is solid. It's pretty solid, whatever." I was like, "Let me look at." Then I saw one video, which I can't tell you who you were speaking with, but it was like a 2 hour video almost, and you were talking about the device, and you were talking about a lot of the things that you have on your page about how it compares to the big companies and the speed and the processing power and how Thunderbolt isn't really, anything that audio users need to focus on, and all those things you were saying in the video. And I'm like, okay, I'm learning a lot, so how is the device? So I'm still looking at videos and I'm seeing that you're doing other interviews with other people. And I'm like, okay, this might be something that I might want to try. So that's how I stumbled upon you, actually. Never thought I would meet you, to be honest with you. I was like, man, I would love to meet this guy one day, because, he seems like this is something he's really trying to do. And I totally was behind. I mean, I totally got behind it as soon as I saw it. I was 100% on board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. 100, man.
Wow. You haven't actually told me that story. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
I figured I do.
Yeah.
I searched you, man. I looked for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I just remember seeing that one user, and he was like, because people were asking different questions. Oh, you gotta watch out for these smaller guys. Yeah, they trying to come up, but at the same time, who's to say, you know, um, they're legit or they're using quality parts? Guy was like, one answer, boom, 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 Creative Devices. I was like, okay. From there, I just started looking, and I took a chance, and it's the best thing I ever did. It's the best. It is hands down the best computer I've ever had. The best computer I've ever had.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You want to know something that's crazy? I talk to a lot of different people, not on podcasts, but in person, that have
Right.
actually used the devices, and they all tell me the same thing. And I love that because I feel the same exact way. These are the
Right.
best devices that I personally have ever used. And that's why I
Right.
couldn't wait to share them with everyone else. Because I'm that type of person. If you ask me for a recommendation, it has to be something that I stand behind, something that I would use myself. If I wouldn't use it,
Exactly.
I wouldn't recommend it to someone else. So that's what I love about these devices. But
Hmm.
yeah, thank you, man. That was definitely an awesome story. You know.
Man, let me tell you, man, it's the best thing ever happened to me. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm talking about 2012, 2013 MSI. I had what is that? I think I still have the MSI laptop. It's a gaming laptop.
Mm.
That was my first. Y'all, let me try this. This is supposed to be a pretty good laptop. It's got the 1 TB. I think it came with a 16 GB drive in it, I think, at the time.
Mm.
And I upgraded it to I maxed it out actually. And I put another terabyte of internal storage SSD inside of it. And for some reason I was still having similar issues. I mean, I didn't really add any more software, any more programming or anything to it, but for some reason it was lagging. And then I figured out it's the single core processing, and with the
Mm.
DAW that I use, which is Ableton Live, and also now Cubase, all thanks to you, you know.
But you switched to
Uh,
Cubase? I thought you were using Sonar.
I'm sorry, Sonar. I'm so sorry,
Okay.
Sonar. I use Sonar when I'm mixing and mastering,
Mm.
but yeah, when I'm creating, I'm just stuck with Ableton. But Ableton is plagued with the single core processing issue. It's very hard on the CPU, very hard. So that always plagued me. No matter even
Mhm.
well, I can't even the desktop that I had built, which I spent a good amount of money, um, most definitely was good and still is good. But it when I got the laptop, man, from you, I'm like, I can clearly see a difference. Like, I know this computer is good, but this is just a better machine. It is. I have no issues with it at all. No issues. No issues. No
That's awesome.
complaint.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
just grateful that, after the surgery and everything, I was strong enough and young enough, so the doctors say, I didn't have to. My progression was pretty quick, and I was back on my feet. I didn't go through the phase of where I thought I was going to be in bed as long as I was, and but still, the laptop I'd rather use that over anything. I'm still gonna keep the computer because the hope says,
Mm.
hopefully you'll come through and we'll. Because I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I did. I called the city already. I looked up the permits and stuff for the back. I'm most definitely looking to build something back there, man.
Okay.
So we got to
Yeah.
make that happen. Sure, man. Yeah.
Definitely. I come through and offer whatever I can, and you know
Yeah, man.
make that into something. I used to have a
For sure.
studio. We talked about this before.
Yeah. Oh.
Miss having the space, and I would like to be able to have another one eventually. But listen, I'm more than happy to help you. Like I said, any way I can, even if it's just offering suggestions, whether you accept it or not, of how to do what, put what where, what materials to use, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, man. Listen, man. My castle, your castle, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you come along, we can do this together, man. Most definitely. I mean, you gonna have keys, I'll have keys. That's the way I look at it, bro.
Yeah, I
You know,
appreciate you.
like I said, you've been and you guys don't know. This man has helped me out a lot. Like I said, I'm pretty good with computers, but I'm not the best. He's one of the best, man. Like seriously, he really taught me a lot. I wouldn't probably be where I am as far as with computers, if it wasn't for this guy. So I owe a lot to him. But at the same time, I told him I was going to be honest, and he knows I'm going to be honest. Like I said, if the computer wasn't up to par, I would have said so, but it is, bro. It's the best computer I've ever had. I probably, like I said, I'll always support Creative Devices. I will always do that. That will always be my go-to. If I need a new one, I know who to go to. I'm good.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'm hoping to most definitely push the brand and get more people to know about the company because there's a lot of haters out there, man. Oh my gracious. It's crazy. The links that they go, and I believe that it's the bigger companies making these people do this because I can't just see your average person sitting home just looking you up trying to like mess with you like that. It doesn't make sense. And I'm sure you don't tell the stories, but these people are
Mm.
crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
The hate is strong with these
Yes,
people. Yeah.
all because of what you're trying to do, and they can't stop it, man. They cannot stop what's happening. This is what people want.
Mhm.
This is what people want. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. I mean, you got a man out here that's actually trying to help us creators.
Mhm.
Come on, why you don't? Come on, come on. It doesn't make sense, you know.
Um, Man, I've got some stories that I haven't shared, and but I don't mind sharing with you. But
Yeah,
man, some of these people, and it's mind blowing because, like you said, you do something to try to help people, and then
right,
they turn around and they give you such a hard time for no reason. It's just like
right.
I don't understand why, but unfortunately, it's just the nature of people. But
Yeah, of course.
let's not even pay any attention to them. Let's not even give them any energy. They're not even worth it, honestly.
Right,
And
absolutely.
let's go back to you. So we know where you started.
Yeah.
Um, so you were playing instruments. What got you
Mhm.
into production? Where did you start with that?
Uh, we were. I think we were. When I say we, I'm speaking of a band that I was playing with at the time. We were in Quad
Right.
Studio. No, Tony Bennett Studios. This was prior. This was like 2013, 14.
Mhm.
And the engineer was on the boards. We had just finished up I think 8 tracks that we had just did. And I was just watching him on the boards. And of course I didn't understand what he was doing then, but he was cleaning up the tracks pretty much and he was color coding and doing everything. And I'm sitting there watching. I'm watching him push the faders up and down and watching the automated faders go up and down, as he's trying to make decisions and stuff. And I'm like, I just roll my chair over to him and I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
what's going on, man? Sorry to. He's like, you mind if I leave? He's like, yeah, yeah, sorry. Can't remember the guy's name, but shout out to him if he ever watches this video. You got me started, man. Like you really got me, wanting to get into that area. And I was like, so this is how it works. He was like, yeah, just pay attention. So I just started watching, and he started off on one of the tracks, and he was saying, this is how you start this off or whatever, and you want to make sure that all your tracks are leveled, and and I'm listening, and I'm like, it's going in one ear and out the other, because I don't know what he's
Mhm.
talking about. He's using like big words, and I'm like, okay, all right. But I'm trying to look cool, and I'm still just listening. I was in the moment, just so hyped. I was so happy to be there and just be, just watching him and stuff. But I wasn't retaining anything. Nothing was sinking in. And then I remember towards the end, I saw him listening to it on like these small, like little Bluetooth speaker. I was like, why are you listening to it on that and not on the big speakers? Like, why you don't want to hear like all the dynamics and stuff? He was like, if it sounds good on this, it's gonna
Mhm.
sound good on everything. And I didn't understand that at first. I was like, oh, okay, okay. I want to hear, well, when you get, I wanted to hear the whole hear the dynamics of everything, but I didn't understand then. But now I most definitely understand now, but that was what intrigued me. And from that point on, I remember my first piece of equipment was the Zoom, what is it? The Zoom 24. That was my first multi-track recording interface. Yeah, I got that, and that was where I started with that. I think I was trying to use Fruity Loops. Did not know what I was doing in Fruity Loops at all. Had no clue. And that's when I stumbled upon Ableton. If it had been Pro Tools, maybe I would have been in Pro Tools. If it had been any other DAW, maybe I would have. Studio One, I picked up later on, which I like. It's probably the most solid put together DAW that I've seen next to Cubase, I have to say, because now that I like Cubase, um, I'm sold on Cubase for mixing and mastering. I love the plugins.
We're gonna have
You're
to change.
laughing. I hear
We're
you
gonna
laugh.
have to change the name of Sonar to Cubase for you.
Sonar, I don't know why I keep saying. I swear, I'm sorry, man. I don't know why I keep
No,
saying
it's
that,
all
man.
good. Listen, Cubase is
I
a
don't-
great DAW. It's just like you. I like Studio One. If there was no Sonar, Studio One would be the one I would be using. And if there was no Studio One, I guess I would have to learn Cubase. But they're all great
Right.
DAWs. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So that's basic. From there, I decided to. I went with Ableton only because of how simple it was. I saw that a lot of people, and it's mostly in the electronic music field, area, was basically using it for that,
Mhm.
because of the whole dynamic and live presentation of it, you being able to do so many things in it, and DJ and all that type of stuff. I was like, okay. I'm thinking, okay, well, that's kind of like, we're talking about DJing, so I mean, I know that's in reference of hip hop. I mean, that's something that I probably need to, look into. Like I said, just not understanding, but
Mhm.
I really like the flow in Ableton, and I was actually able to complete beats in Ableton, and from there it became like a staple. I don't know. It's in my, like,
Mhm.
when I think about creating, I open Ableton because I know how to do everything in there, you know. But when it comes down to mixing, I mean, in Ableton, I found my way. But like I said, Sonar most definitely has been the way to go for me. But yeah, that was my approach, man,
Okay.
for
So
sure.
I know you have a custom built computer in your studio.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's a pretty nice custom built computer.
Thank you.
Tell
Yeah.
us about that.
Well, 2019, I ran into found someone actually. He's a very nice guy. He's actually local here in Hempstead. He builds computers, and I basically made a list of. I figured out all the parts. By then, I had more knowledge of a computer, and I knew all the main parts that were needed. And so I basically took everything to him, and this is what I want. Build something similar to this. We went over everything, and he pretty much week by week found every item, compared prices, did the whole nine, broke it down with me so that I could understand what he was doing. And for that time, that was like considered like a really, really high powered machine.
Mm.
Um, and it hasn't failed me. Like, it hasn't. Like, I haven't put too much pressure on it to where it won't function. I've tried different interfaces on it since then, and they all were good with it. But like I said, it's like, you're driving a car for 10 years, you're used to it, you know the ins and out of it, and then you jump in a new car. It's like, wow, this is faster. That's how it was for, like, the laptop Creative Devices. And I had to acknowledge that. I was like, man. Then I thought about the money that I spent on that
Mm,
computer, and I'm like, it's like $6,000. Like what?
mm,
I didn't even spend a fraction of that, for what I bought, the G16 for. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it outperforms. It does. It does. That's the bottom line. Still a good computer, but it's got it beat, man. And like I said,
Listen,
thank you, man.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. It is a great computer. I can bear witness to that because I was there. I saw it. It still runs well to this day. But six
Thank you.
thousand dollars. Mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mm.
I mean, I guess for the time, I even mentioned, I think I showed you this stuff on it, and even you agreed. I mean, for the time and the labor and stuff,
Yeah,
and him actually delivering it to me, it was worth it. I mean,
yeah,
I wish I wish I was at that time a little bit more knowledgeable, then I probably would have been able to have taken a different route. But I have to say, like I said, the computer has been dependable, and I can't complain, not at all. Can't
no,
complain.
it's a great computer. It really is.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, man.
awesome, awesome. So now we know what you were using, what you're using now.
Hmm.
Uh, in your honest opinion, would you recommend the Creative Devices computer to someone, and why?
Yeah, I recommend a creative device computer to almost anyone, not just people that make music, but gamers, all types of individuals, because of the performance and the power. And it's if you're a multitasker and you want to do multi, you want to do a lot of things on the device, you can do that. You don't have to worry about um it starting to lag in one area or this screen. I can't open this or this is slow. I'm trying to do this. You don't have to depend. It's very dependable. That's
Mm,
why I would recommend it to anyone. It's very dependable. You don't have to worry. I mean, for what you'll pay, out here with these bigger companies, you're paying a fraction of that and you're getting the same quality, if not better, and in most cases better.
yeah,
Why not? So of course, yeah, I would recommend it to anyone, man.
all right. That's great to know. And you said yourself that when it's time to upgrade, you'd be upgrading to a Creative
Oh
Devices
yeah,
computer.
for sure. It's creative devices all the way for me, man. There's nothing else out there worth it. It doesn't make sense to me to go out here and spend that big money like that, and especially when you're a guy like me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I'm not poor. Thank God, I'm
mm,
good. But the point that I'm making is that no one should have to spend that type of money, man. They shouldn't have to. And then the way that they set up, like the way Apple does, their machines, so you can't do certain things unless they do it. You have to pay so much money. That's crazy. I mean, I understand people, oh, it's dependable. Yeah, because you haven't tried anything else. You found something that works. Yes, it works. It's very dependable. Imagine being able to get the same type of speed, if not better, at a fraction of the price.
you
Why
know,
not try it out?
it's funny when I talk to people who use Apple computers. The first thing that they usually say is it doesn't freeze, and I laugh because
That's not true.
Windows, it's not true. It's not true. But
That's not true at all.
Windows, you know, some of these people are still thinking back to Windows XP days. Windows
Mm,
XP was like what, early 2000s,
yeah.
So around that time is when a lot of people shifted from Windows to Apple because there were a
Okay.
lot of things. Basically, everything is made for Windows, including viruses.
Right.
Probably thanks to competition, but we're going to leave that alone. Uh, you know, you create a problem and then you solve it. It's good business, I understand,
Mhm.
but at the same time, Windows XP was a great system, but the hardware wasn't very reliable and it wasn't always the most powerful. With
Right.
Windows at the time, and even still to this day, you have so many different manufacturers that make hardware for Windows. And you can just put anything together, but it doesn't mean that they're all going to play well together, right? Which is
Right.
why when you build a computer, you have to make sure you select components that play well together that don't have these issues. That's basically what we do with these laptops, which is what
Mhm.
Apple does also, which is why they don't have as many issues as they do. Like if you were to buy a regular consumer device like Dell or you said MSI or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they do to some extent, but a lot of the times it's all about getting the cheapest components and selling it for a certain amount so that they
Same
can make a
amount.
certain amount of profit. With
Right.
us, it's about performance. We need to make sure these things are going to perform first. Performance is always number one, and everything else comes second. So if we have to sacrifice something for performance, then it's going to be sacrificed because performance is key.
Right.
So, and I I think I might have seen someone show me a blue screen maybe once or twice on one of our laptops, and it wasn't
Okay.
because of our laptop. It was because one guy plugged in some cheap Chinese, and not because it's Chinese doesn't mean it's cheap, because everything is made in China today. Doesn't matter
Yes.
what it is,
Sure.
from your devices, even if it's an Apple device, whether it's Samsung, whether it's whatever it is, your clothes, your everything is made in China,
China.
and the quality is up to par because everything that we all use is good quality now, right? But
Right.
there are some things that are very cheap. So when you install something that's cheap that wasn't well made and the software wasn't well made and it just doesn't work properly, it's going to create an issue. That device
Right.
created the issue. Once they removed that device, there was no issue. But sometimes you get people who they make up things, right? I'll get into that later. But the bottom line is our devices don't have the same issues. You don't have the same issues with Windows today that you used to, especially with like Windows 10. It's so reliable. It's ridiculous, you know,
Yeah.
and it's so easy to use. Everything is either right in front of you or right click away. You can
Right.
literally go in and completely customize the operating system to you. You can't
So
do
would
that
you s-
with Mac.
right. So would you say that Windows has like this not stigma, like a stereotype of it from the past still attached to the name, which is keeping people
Absolutely.
from okay.
Absolutely. A lot of people and they hold on to that because that's what they use to sell products, right?
Gotcha.
Not only that, but even if you bought something from another major manufacturer like Dell or HP or something like that, again, not to say anything bad about these companies, they're all made in the same locations, but they're not all used, they don't all use the same components, basically, I should say. So a lot of these
Okay.
bigger companies will use cheaper parts and sell it for more money so that they can make more profit. And then they'll throw all this bloatware on there. And again, these are normal consumer devices. They don't know what you're going to use it for. They can advertise it as for this and that and all these other things. You're going to buy it. They're going to put a whole bunch of stuff on there and you're going to use it. You've got all these different things that you got to try to get rid of, your Norton and your Best Buy and all this other stuff you got to try to delete off of there. And then you have components that don't play well together that are, you're hoping that you don't get a blue screen, and if you do the wrong thing you will, and if you connect the wrong thing to it you will. All of these things are what give Windows a bad name, but if you use any well-built Windows device you don't have any issues with it. you
Right.
know that's why in I've been to big studios that use Windows instead of Mac, and they have professionally built Windows computers, whether it's a
Hmm.
rack PC, a tower, whatever it is, and these things run flawlessly.
Right.
And you can't tell the difference. except for the fact that it's Windows. And I don't know, a lot of people have done studies where they claim that audio sounds better through Windows than it does on Mac. I'm not going to get into that, but I've been a part of those studies, so I
Okay.
understand. I understand. But a lot of people will claim all sorts of things, man, just because they're either financially motivated or they
Mm,
want to be part of what the majority is doing, what everyone else is doing. If you have enough
right.
money and influence, you can make anything the standard. But standard doesn't mean best. Standard just
Right.
means standard. If
Right.
I put enough money and influence behind something like a DAW, you can come along and make Pro Tools the industry standard. And if you put enough
Right.
money and influence behind a computer brand like Apple, then you can make that the standard. But it doesn't mean that they're the best. It just means that they're
Exactly.
standard. And again, I'm not saying anything. I'm trying not to say anything bad about these companies. They all make good devices. You know, I don't think they're worth the money. And outside of Apple and Creative Devices, I don't think a lot of other companies use um, the best components in their devices, and that's why you'll have more issues with them. So if
Right.
you are a creator, if you're doing anything serious, you want to buy a serious machine. You don't want to just go buy a regular consumer device and try to use it for serious use because you will run into issues. So that's
Right.
why buying an Apple is good, but you don't have to spend all that money on an Apple. You can get something on the Windows side that's a lot more affordable, that's as good, and
Right.
maybe even better in certain cases. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I think younger creatives, creators, they don't have a lot of knowledge of like CPUs,
Mhm.
computers. So I guess to them, the Apple's the safe route. You know,
Right.
they know, oh, no viruses. They hear no viruses, which is not true
Not
at
true.
all.
No.
And they go with Apple, and Apple, devices will perform. But if you're passionate about something and you really want to understand what you're doing, just understanding how to use Windows laptops or a Windows computer, can save you a lot of money,
Mhm.
when comparing it to, Apple products. So why not do that, and then you'll realize, in my opinion, you know, I don't really have to spend $3,000-4,000 to get something that's gonna operate. At least I ain't got to worry about it messing up for the next 2, 3 years. Like, I don't have to spend that type of money. Really? So I
Listen,
mean, to me, it's no option. I mean, it's no brainer. I don't know.
bro, for me, and I know everyone's knowledge level is not the same. And I don't know
Yeah.
everything. I'm just a person like we all are, right? I know
Right.
a few things, you know a few things, the next person knows a few things, but we're all capable of learning as much as we want to know. And
Right.
knowledge is power. And because of the knowledge that I happen to have acquired, I haven't used an antivirus program in probably almost a decade.
Wow.
And I don't get viruses on my computer.
Yeah.
The
I
problem
haven't
is,
gotten any.
right, it's all about understanding what to do and what not to do when you're online. First of
Right.
all, any production machine shouldn't be connected to the internet full time anyway. There's no reason to have it connected to the internet full time. You connect it when you need to use the internet for something. If you want to download or upload a file or something like that, stream something to listen to, but you're not
Hmm.
using it to shop and pay your bills and check out all these weird sites that you don't know and play around with. Why would you use a serious production machine for all of that? You know,
Right.
most people would have something separate on the side that they would use to do all their nonsense. Like I'll browse whatever I want on my phone. I'm out
Right.
all day. I'm on my phone. I'm browsing whatever I want. I search for files.
Hmm.
I'll download everything on my phone, and when I'm done, I'll transfer it over to my computer later. My phone is my computer. You know what I mean? For everything
Right.
else, and my computer is what I use for my productions. But not
Hmm.
everyone does that. And even if you do use your computer, just be smart about it to understand that you know, your computer is a serious production machine, and playing around on the internet doesn't matter if you have a Mac or a Windows. You can be susceptible to intrusions, depending on where you are and what you click on. And a lot of things come up in disguise where you don't know, and you're just going to click something to close it, and you don't realize that you've accepted something, right?
Right.
So understanding how to get rid of those things without clicking on the wrong thing, and staying off the internet on a serious machine when you don't need to be on it, those things will help you. Even if you only have the one computer, you'll
Right.
be able to use it with no antivirus, and you won't have any issues. You know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wish I knew that years ago. I would, man. I wish I knew that. But like I said, a lot of people don't have that. Just those little simple things
Mm-hmm.
they're not aware of, you know. And think about it. I mean, now kids are, what are they mostly on? Their phones. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
stream everything from their phones. So like if you're gonna, like you said, if you're going to make music, do certain things that, outside of scrolling the internet, you're going to have to know how and what you need to do in order to keep the computer operating the way that it should operate,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people don't take that into consideration. It's like, oh, I want to be able to do this, this, and this. Okay, all right, okay, you do it, and
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't even have to be a window. We're not just talking about Windows. I mean, that's any device, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't advise, like you said, I wouldn't advise anyone to be on the internet, even if I had an Apple computer or whatever. I mean, the way viruses are now, and the way people are able to make some of those viruses, I wouldn't chance it, not at all. And like I said, and just like you, since I've had I don't have any type of anti-theft, any type of software on mine as well, and I've had no issues at all, no issues.
Yeah, man. It's all about knowledge, man. And I think that's what keeps people in that bubble of, oh, I got to get an Apple because there's no viruses. They think there's no viruses on an Apple, but when they actually get a virus on an Apple and they realize how bad it is compared to getting one on a Windows,
Hmm.
they never want to go back. I
Yeah.
know 5 people personally that have gotten a
Wow.
virus on an Apple. And after that virus destroyed their Apple and everything in it, they went back to Windows and never messed with an Apple again,
They, see,
because it is so much worse on an Apple than it is on Windows. It's
that's
crazy.
crazy.
It's
Oh
crazy.
wow.
Yeah. But listen, again, is it harder to get one on Mac? Yes, it's harder to get one. But
Hmm.
you can avoid getting one entirely on Windows if you're knowledgeable about it. As long as you know what to do and what not to do, you don't even need an antivirus program. You'll never need one, and you won't get a virus as long as you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but as far as Brasstime Productions go, like I said, I can't wait for the world to hear some of this fire you got, man. Because
Hey man,
man,
it's coming.
I got to be honest,
It's coming.
I don't impress easily, but I was impressed with some of the stuff I heard.
Oh, thank you, man. I
You're
appreciate it,
welcome.
man.
You're
That's
welcome.
light, man. It's more coming, man. That's light, man. We gonna do some things, man. I don't know if you guys know, this guy can kill that guitar, man.
maybe,
He's being
maybe,
humble right now, but I'm telling y'all,
you
that
know,
man can play. He can play.
yeah,
uh,
I play around. But we'll definitely do something. We'll definitely do something. Uh,
sure, for sure.
so where do you see Brasstime Productions within the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I see Brasstime Productions. Uh, it's a good question. I most definitely see it being more known.
Hmm.
You know, uh, I do anticipate to see more commercial endorsements.
Hmm.
At one point that was starting to come in prior to me getting sick. So I have to get back on that grind. Um, as far as I think now, what I'm really intrigued about is social media video content. I really want to get really good at that. I really want to get good at that. So that is outside of the music, that is going to be a big focus of mine, really building a bigger audience in that area so that I want people to really want to, oh, when they see Brass Time drop something, oh man, I'm gonna check this out. Check this out. That's how I want people, to view the content. But like in I see just my brand being bigger.
Hmm.
That's what I see. Like I said, my whole approach to everything that I'm doing now was just like because I had a passion for it, but I treated it like a hobby. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I think for me, the the pressure of having, oh, you gotta have this done, you gotta do this, do that, blah 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 blah. At that particular time was not anything that I was ready for at that time. Being with my health and everything and undergoing a double lung transplant, you know,
Wow.
uh, yeah, and recovering from that, and like I said, I'm a mentally strong person, and just staying focused. I didn't have the time or the ability to stay focused in that way. But now that life is getting back on course, back at work, and just getting my dialing in back into to life, man. I'm able to tackle these things now, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And like I said, to me, age ain't nothing but a number. Like I said, I'm not out here trying to sing or be the next such and such or some type of artist, but I do want my music out there. I want people to know that Brass Time production is serious, man. And we coming, man. We coming.
That's what's up. So, I mean, I know your brother's in the game too. You talked about your
Yeah,
twin, and
yeah.
so you guys have any plans of doing anything together?
He's working now. He got some heat, man. Oh man, and plus he sings more so than me.
Okay.
I can sing, but he's the singer. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I'm the chord guy. You come to me for the chords.
Okay.
He's the singer, yeah. But he most definitely he has a lot of music now that he's putting. I think he's trying to. I'll let him tell his piece as far as what he's doing, but he does have music in the work to be released soon, and I'm looking forward to that.
Mhm.
And I'm sure he'll tell you more about it. But yeah, for sure,
Okay.
man. We don't have anything. We have about three or four tracks that we've done already, but he's not ready to
Mhm.
release that. When that
Okay.
time comes, he will. If he does or if he doesn't, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
know,
All right.
but for sure,
Cool. Cool. So
that's
we're gonna get him on here, and we'll let him tell his side of the story.
yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll go into more detail, I'm sure, but yeah, he'll probably have a more detailed story than me, especially about the upbringing and how we got in, to the
Mhm.
music and stuff. But
All
yeah,
right.
can I ask you a question?
You can ask me anything you want, brother.
All right. I remember the story vaguely, when I
Mhm.
was in the hospital, we were talking, and how did you first start playing guitar? I don't know. You may have answered this question on one of the other videos, but I just want to see if I remember exactly.
Did I start playing guitar? God, it seems like
Yeah.
it was so long ago.
Nah, man.
You
Not
know,
not too long ago. Couple
yeah,
years.
it was. Yeah, well, age ain't nothing but a number, but
That's it.
those numbers. It's been a while. Let's just put it that way. I remember always being into music. Music has always been played throughout the household while I was growing up.
Mm.
Come to find out later that my dad was a drummer and my mom played the like the
Flute.
clarinet type of flute. I forgot what it's called, the one that Kenny G played, basically. And I didn't
Okay.
I didn't know this until later on. But my uncles played other instruments and stuff like that. So my family was musical. And I always felt music in a certain way, and I couldn't understand what it was. And I remember hanging out with my uncle when I was younger, and we would listen to these rock stations. And I'd hear all this rock music, and for some reason, I liked all music, you know, everything I liked. But the rock music spoke to me in a certain way, and I didn't know what it was. It was the high energy, and it was the sound of
Mm.
the guitar. And as I got a little older, I remember, you remember Terminator 2?
Oh yeah.
So when Terminator 2 came out, and I'm telling my age right now,
Nah.
I remember seeing that video that Guns N' Roses did, and I was
Hmm.
watching this, and I'm thinking, I'm a little kid watching this video, thinking this is the coolest sounding thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Talk about high energy, make you go crazy. And the guitar is amazing. And I'm watching Slash play this guitar and I'm mesmerized. I'm like, that is the coolest sounding thing. And he is the coolest person I'd ever seen in my entire life. And I want to be just like him when I grow up.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
and that's where it started. Um,
Wow.
I begged my mom for a guitar. My dad was reluctant, but they got me a guitar, an
Hmm.
acoustic, and I just basically had to figure it out. It was
Wow.
basically like, here's the guitar, you figure it out. There was no lessons or none of that stuff. And as difficult as it was, I am so appreciative of the fact that I had that experience to where it forced me to figure it out in a different way from everyone else. And because it
Right.
forced me to figure it out in a different way, I was able to rely on my ear more. And then
Hmm.
I realized I could hear what these people were playing. Once I kind of figured out what the guitar was doing, I could figure out where to find the notes and where to go to the next note from where I started. And then I just
Hmm.
kept going from there. I kept going from there. By the time I started getting good on the guitar, it was like, well, I guess I don't need lessons now. Because the thing was, if I can figure it out and they saw that I was serious about it, then I would get lessons. But by the time I got good, I didn't even want the lessons because a lot of the people that I met that took lessons, they were still trying to play the stuff that they were learning, like basic chords and the same common scales. They couldn't make any actual music with it. And I was like, well, if that's what's going to happen to me if I take lessons, I don't want that. I want to just continue doing what I'm doing because I was actually playing music. I was learning other people's music and I was playing music and I was actually making my own. One of the things that I realized though, while I was making music and listening to other people's music that they were making was all of our music sounded too much like our influences. And it's because we learned all these people's songs. And though that's basically what we knew. So when we were making our own music now, we were taking what we knew from learning other people's songs to create our own. And I didn't like the fact that my song started to sound like other people's. So then I forbid myself from learning anyone else's music.
Hmm.
And since I was a teenager at that time.
Hmm.
And I have not learned I've never learned anyone's full song since I was a teenager. There might have been a part of a song that really bugged me and I needed to figure out what was happening in that particular area of that song, just that part. but then that was it. So I'm the last guy to call to be in a cover band because I can't do it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
that's how I got started. Slash and Guns N' Roses, and it went from Slash to everyone else, Jimi Hendrix, Tony Iommi. I went to Ozzy's solo band with Randy Rhoads and all his guitar players and all these other guitar players. I just kept going, and I got to Steve Vai, and then I got into, someone sent me a guitar player that was like, "This guy sounds like you," and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And I'm listening to him, and I was amazed. I was like, "This guy is way too good to sound like me." There's a guy named Greg Howe. That's how I found out
Amazing.
about Greg Howe. A friend of mine introduced me to him because when he listened to him,
Wow.
he said, "This guy sounds like me." But I was like, "He's way too good to sound like me." He's like, "This guy sounds like how I wish I sounded." But I knew what he meant because I guess I put my character into what I play. Like I do it with a
Yeah,
certain way and a certain emotion.
most
And
definitely.
and Greg does the same thing. So I kind of understood what he meant, but Greg Howe is on his own planet as far as guitar playing is concerned. He's a
But that
really
just
nice
tells
guy
you
too.
where you are.
No, 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 no.
Hey, hey, listen. I
I am
think it's
nowhere there.
it's- if people are telling you that, I mean, it's what it is. You know, I mean,
No,
it's
no,
okay to be humble, but hey, listen, I think you're that good. I know that. I know what I hear, you know.
I appreciate you. I really do.
Yeah, man. For sure. For sure, man. That's dope, man. That is dope.
Thank you, thank you.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, so that was guitar for me. It just kept changing into I got more and more involved in different genres. I went from rock to metal to jazz to everything. Anything that's
Jazz.
musical and technical, I'm interested in,
Hmm.
because I like musicality, but I also like technicality because it can be exciting. But I think
Right.
when I was younger, I was into a lot of more of the technical stuff, like wow, all this flashy, fancy, fast playing, arpeggio sweeps, blah 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 blah. I'm not in my 20s anymore, so I don't care about that now. But it's still cool to be able to do it, um, you know, in a certain way. It's not for me. It's not all about that. It's about the music. If you can find a way to fit that in and make it musical, great. But to only do that just for the sake of doing it, like I watch a lot of these young players, and they're amazing. Don't get me wrong, and they're playing at lightning speeds, all these crazy arpeggios and all this other stuff, and it's great.
Is it
But
necessary?
where's the music though? That's what
Oh.
you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
where's the music? And it's like doing that is fantastic, but you have to be able to play music because
Yeah.
people will like you because you can do all of that, but then that's all you can do. If that's all you can do, you end up becoming a gimmick. And you don't want to end up labeling yourself as just a gimmick because all you can do is this fast playing stuff. You want to
Right.
be more than just a shred player. You want to be like, look at Eddie Van Halen.
Wow.
Everyone loves Eddie Van Halen. Everyone knows that he could play, but he actually played music, you
Right.
know. Whether you liked his music or not, doesn't matter. He played music and his band did
Exactly.
well, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Okay, so as far as the company goes, what would you say creative devices in general would need? What area of the business you think will probably need like work in reference of when I say work, I mean more so like assistance or help. What areas you think will probably benefit the company, that others could possibly do, or that you're maybe possibly, like I don't know, possibly you're looking maybe other areas that you're looking to go into that you would possibly need help in, you know?
The only thing I could think of right now would be something wouldn't that probably wouldn't be able to happen anytime soon. And that is, like with everything, we're limited to what we're able to do, what we're able to get. You know, we don't have unlimited resources. I can't just make up any random crazy thing out of my mind and have it made. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Um, if that were the case, then we could probably create literally anything, and it would be great. There are some things that I would like to do that I have to accept that we just can't do that at this moment, you know,
Okay.
and it is what it is. And it would be nice to not have certain limitations. That's the only thing I can think of at the moment. But, such is life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Such is life. What are you going to do?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
I like these questions, man.
You got any plans of networking with major brands in the future, maybe?
Major brands.
Yeah.
I have not talked to any major brands, and I honestly haven't thought of it. Um,
Wow.
I don't know what major brands we could work with and in what way. Um, that would be interesting. I'm definitely not
Yeah.
opposed to it, but the thing with working with a major brand is their main focus is profit,
Yeah.
and it should be ours, but we started this to help people, you know. And I believe that when you do something to help people, money will come eventually later on down the road. It may be however many years from now, you know, we're not going to get rich, but hopefully more and more people will learn about us and realize that we're not like every other corporation and support us to allow us to continue to do things for our fellow creators. And as long as we have the support, we can continue to do more and more for our creative community. And then, money won't be an issue. Once money is no longer an issue, then if someone has an idea like, oh, can we do this? I say, we can try it, as long as we have the money to do it, then let's do it. And that's what the money would be for. It's not about, I want to get rich and I'm lounging on a yacht somewhere, in Tahiti. It's
Right. Right.
that's not what this is about. Otherwise, I always say, otherwise I'd be charging what everyone else is charging.
Right. Exactly.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. It would depend on the brand and what the requirements were for that deal. We're not going to do anything that's going to set our customers back or force them to have to pay way too much money for something.
Yeah. Man. That's why people need to know about you, man. They really do. The
Thank you.
world needs to know about you, man. Seriously, because this right here is it. This is where it is. This I know, being younger and not understanding and just wanting certain things. This is what everybody wants. These are what the young creators want. They do. I mean, even if they don't ever hear about you, or even if they know about you and they just don't want to take a chance or whatever the situation is, that is what they want. They want a computer that can be dependable, that can compete with all these other, big name, computers or whatever, and not have to pay crazy amounts of money.
Hmm.
That's what they want. They want, and the performance is there. That's what they want. So you're doing it. So I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like we keep pushing the brand. Because when I say, I know it's you, but I'm gonna always say we,
Mm,
because I'm gonna push it
no,
as well, man.
bro, it's
You
we
know?
because this is not a
Yeah.
one man show. This
Right.
is everybody. This is for creators by by creators. It's for all of us. So
Right.
it's definitely a we. Yeah,
Yes, man. I appreciate it. You know,
I
this
appreciate
is
you.
like thank you. It's most definitely what they need. I'll say that. It's what they need. So as long as you, like I said, as long as you continue to do what you're doing, it's only one way, man. I mean, and that's up, bro. It's gonna grow. People are gonna finally, and I think people are starting to realize. I don't have to buy that flashy I keep picking on Apple. I don't have to to go for the high priced item because, this is what everybody else is doing. You don't have to do that.
No.
So
At the same
yeah,
time,
man.
though, at the same time, we get it though because we've been there, we've done it, we've gotten
Yeah.
Apple devices, we've used them, you know,
Oh,
and we know that they're good. At the same time,
yeah.
they're too limited, in my opinion, and I
Yeah.
don't like limitations, and that's why I
Yeah.
went back to Windows because I don't like the limitations of Apple.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But yeah, I
Most
mean,
definitely.
what's your opinion, honestly? Besides, obviously, and let's be realistic. They
Yeah.
do make good devices.
Yeah.
What was your experience with Apple?
Um, at that time, I didn't. Okay, I think I still have a Mac Mini full of viruses. I had an older uh laptop. My older laptop was pretty good. Pretty good. I have to say it was pretty decent. Battery started to go in it. Changed the battery in it. And I didn't go about it the way, the older ones, I was actually able to either buy it from, I think I bought it from someone else, so I was able to do it myself. But as far as that computer lasted pretty well till I sold it. I think the screen had cracked. That one was pretty decent. Okay. The Mac Mini is still in good working position, but it does have its issues. And remember, I was at this point, I was a little bit more knowledgeable and I knew exactly what it was that I shouldn't be using it for and how I should be properly using it, and it still got viruses. So, um, I don't know. I feel like I know comparing what I have now to what I had then, it was more of a headache. It was more of a headache, much more of a headache. And and for some particular reason, the single core processing weighed very heavily. Many of projects had to be restarted or they would not open, it would not play just because of, dealing with buffering issues and stuff like that. It was a nightmare, big nightmare. So no comparison. No comparison. I mean, everybody was when people. It probably was me when people were talking so highly of Mac and how their laptops are the best and the minis are better than Windows desktop computers or whatever. And I'm like, I don't really see a difference. I mean, I'm still having issues with viruses. My computer's crashing over here. Like, what are y'all talking about? What am I the only idiot out here that doesn't know how to use a computer or something? I was still having issues. So uh, when I got, like I said, and when I switched back over and got the MSI laptop, that was actually functioning better than the Apple. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was until it didn't, and then like I said, I stumbled upon. Well, after I had the desktop built, I stuck with the desktop. There were many times where, and that's another thing. There were many times, like when I started Brasstime, before I even made the name, known, and I started getting into the industry and trying to like make music and stuff like that. There were many, man, I got to get home, man. I got an idea, or I didn't have anything, I could walk around with, and I'm glad, like I said, I took the time to look you up, found you, man. It's been the best thing since, man. I never go back. Never go back. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on this call with me, man. It's always a pleasure talking with you, brother. And
Always, man.
we got to get up soon, man. I want to hear some of that new stuff you're working on.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I
Yeah,
can't wait to see you, bro, man.
definitely. Listen, do you have
All right,
anything
man.
else you want to ask me before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's mostly it. I think that's mostly it, man.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to come
Oh
by.
yeah, I do have. I'm sorry, I do.
Go ahead,
One.
talk to me. Talk to me.
When the next uh when the next track when I'm gonna hear something from you.
Oh, man. Everyone wants to know that. So
Yeah.
I made a vow that I'm going to start playing guitar again this year. All right. Because I had stopped for a while because I needed all the time I could get to build creative devices. And I felt really bad when I was at NAM surrounded by all these musicians. And I had to tell them that I hadn't played guitar in literally a couple of years. Everyone's looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" It's like there's no life without guitar, and I'm like, "I know, I know." That's why I've been feeling so miserable. So I've been picking the guitar up every now and then. I wish I could say it's every day. Unfortunately, it's not every day.
Okay.
Maybe every other day or so. When I
Mm-hmm.
get time, I'll pick it up and I'll just noodle around unplugged just to try to reacclimate myself to the thing. And once I get a little more comfortable with it, I'll make time where I can plug it in and play and just get back into it. But this month for sure, I have some songs that I started that I need to finish. And I'm sure I'm going to come up with some ideas for new stuff as well. So there should
Oh
be some
man,
stuff being made before this year is out. There should be some new stuff.
I can't wait to hear it, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
For sure.
I
For
can't wait
sure.
to. It's been a while, and I feel so bad when I pick up the guitar and I start trying to play stuff that used to be easy for me, and I realize like my fingers just aren't doing what they used to do. It's like I don't even recognize myself anymore. You know what I mean? It feels so
Wow.
weird. It's almost
Hmm.
like I have to start all over again from scratch. It's not that bad, but it kind of feels that way to me just because I don't have it the way I used to. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, I actually have to practice. Like, bro, I haven't practiced in so many years because I spent a lot of time when I was younger practicing. And then after
Hmm.
that, it was just only playing and no practice. My only practice was when I would actually play. So I never had to
Right.
practice. But now, because I haven't played in so long, I actually have to practice. And it's just such a weird feeling to have to do so again. But
Right.
it is what it is.
Well, the love is there, so I'm sure, like I said, even
Yeah.
that experience is gonna be an experience.
Yeah. I it feels weird, but at the same time, I am looking forward to getting that feeling back, like the feeling of excitement and fulfillment from playing guitar. Because
Right.
for me, there was nothing better than being on that stage. It was
Yeah.
always the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah. Nothing
And
like it being on stage.
yeah. And when I pick up the guitar and I start playing, even though I'm struggling to do what I used to do easily, I still get that feeling like, man, if I want to ever go back out there, I got to get this done. So
For
it's gonna
sure.
happen. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. For sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll definitely work on something, because I know you got some fire. We'll make
Amen.
something happen. You
For
know.
sure.
How's your son's laptop?
Oh yeah, Kyle. Oh my God. You know, I should have got him on here. His laptop is great. He's on it. He uses his laptop way more than me. I mean, this kid stays on that thing 24/7. I never see him without it, man. He loves it. He loves it. That's his lifeline.
It's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
well, tell them go out and play. Be a kid too. Don't
yeah,
just
right.
spend time on the computer.
I wish, man. I wish. I try, man. I try and get him out here in the yard, or I try and take him to the courts and stuff. He was like, "Listen, I play basketball on my on the computer, man, with the
What?
laptop." I'm like,
No.
"Okay, that's what the kids do now." I was like, "All right, all right." That's what my thing with him, because he's into, like, he's academically strong. He's very good.
Mhm.
So I was like, he's like, "You told me if I keep my grades up, I can do what I want." I'm like, "Yeah, you can, but at the same time,
Right.
I want him to get out, but I do want him to keep his grades. I mean, he's doing it, so I
Okay.
can't I can't really complain.
All right. Yeah. Well, listen,
Yeah,
bro. Again, I appreciate you. Say hi to the family for me. I got to come
I
by and
sure
check
will,
y'all
brother.
sometime
I
soon.
can't wait to have you, man. Please,
All right.
anytime. You already know.
Thank you, brother. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, bro. All
All
right,
right.
later.
Later.